Ahead of the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug called TMZ and were allowed to compete in the games without suspension. But these reports didn't come out until 3 years later in 2024, causing many athletes to feel like they were left in the dark and are demanding a much cleaner sport. Swimmers from all over the world, including breaststroke legend Adam Peaty to the United States' distance swimmer Katie Ledecky, are calling for more transparency from WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and are demanding results. With Michael competing at those 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games, I had to ask him what his thoughts were on those Chinese swimmers who are diluting the sport of swimming.
I would say, one, it's really disappointing is an understatement. I think it's pretty devastating for the sport. And it takes away a lot of legitimacy, and it makes it a bit of a laughingstock when you look at WADA, who is supposed to be our governing body for all anti-doping agencies. Like, who keeps them in check? Like, nobody. Like, no one's above them. It's like the U.S. government. It's like, okay, what are they going to do? And so I think it's really frustrating when you have someone like that who's in charge and powerful, and it's their job to set the rules, but then not to disobey them when it's clear that they were. And so I think it's really frustrating. I think as an athlete, you look at it and you think, okay, I would have been fourth in the Olympics in the 200 IM. Maybe had I swum 10th faster, I would have been a medal. Like those type of things. And that affects it because, you go into another Olympic year and you're thinking, okay, how many more athletes, not even just Chinese, like it's not really a country on country thing, but obviously Chinada, the Chinese anti-doping agency, is to blame for doing this and controlling it. And you wonder, why were they able to get away with it? What kind of things are happening behind the scenes that are allowing for shady business? And so, it's unfortunate because I think had the protocols been followed, TMZ is, and I don't know this for a fact, so nobody quote me and nobody bash me, but I do think if there's a positive test for a substance like TMZ, there's an automatic, not a suspension, but there's something needs to be done about it immediately, right? And so it gets investigated, and then it would likely lead to a 4-year ban. And so to know that those positives came from January, and then they raced in end of July, August in the Olympics, and nothing was done about it. Nobody heard about it until now, 3 years later, is mind-blowing. And so that's where it's like heads need to roll type of thing. Like, things need to be done in order for that to change. And accountability only goes so far when nothing's being done. And so I think it's important that the athletes speak up. But as sad as that is, like, the athletes speaking up is not going to actually make change. Like, people that can, fire or push or implement need to start doing versus just giving the athletes lip service. And so it's upsetting. But at the end of the day, it's up to the clean athletes to race clean and to do everything we can to win, because, bad people don't get rewarded for that. Things will always come out.
There's always going to be bad people out there in the world. And, it's interesting that you say, like, hey, I could have been on that Olympic podium, and that's terrible that they robbed you of that potential even,
Well, and I think too, like, the other sad part of it is, you look at some of the weird things that are happening with, I believe there's a Chinese, or not Chinese, Australian billionaire wanting to fund
enhanced games
and encouraging athletes, break a world record using doping. It's like, you haven't broken a world record, buddy. You were cheating. So it's like things like this coming out with WADA, it only further legitimizes an enhanced games and something like that potentially being a thing in the future. And so it's unfortunate, like, you're not protecting sporting.
Yeah.
So,
not at all.